Hello loves, and welcome to Bree's Project Book. Today I'm participating in a collaboration with two of my favorite YouTube sisters, Juani from Juani House and Stephanie from Creatively MsMe with Stephanie. The collaboration is titled One Pot Meal Challenge for 2020. In this recipe, I will be doubling the ingredients to freeze for later. The original recipe ingredients are listed in the description box below. They brought this challenge last year and it turned out to be a huge success. Some of you guys who participated brought some great recipes that I tried, and I'm so excited to participate this year. So here are the ingredients you would need. 16 ounces of spicy Italian sausage, 8 slices of bacon, half large onion dice, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic mince, 28 ounces of low sodium chicken broth, 3 cups of water, 5 medium russet potatoes thinly sliced, 1 teaspoon of crushed pepper, flakes optional, salt and pepper optional, 4 cups of chopped kale, 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and Parmesan cheese. Now these ingredients and instructions will be in the description box below. And of course you will need a cooking pot, whichever you're going to use, a Dutch oven, a crock pot, what have you. So before I start any recipe, I always prepare and chop my vegetable. We will start with the bacon. We will chop this in small slices and chop them in bite-sized pieces. And then we put it in a bowl and set it aside in the refrigerator. The potatoes, the recipe called for russet potatoes, but I'll be using these Yukon potatoes because they're more tender and they're smaller. And I like to slice these up. Each potato, put them in the bowl, and also set these in the refrigerator. Now once I washed my kale and dried it thoroughly, I prepare my kale by taking the pieces off the stem and then chop those up in small bite-sized pieces. You can include your stem with your kale. It doesn't change the recipe or the taste. The onions and the garlic has already been prepared. You can get onions already chopped in the grocery store. They're a little bit more expensive, but all the work is done. The minced garlic you can get prepared in a jar from the grocery store. Half a teaspoon of minced garlic is equal to 1 clove of garlic. We'll be using 2 pounds of the mild sausage instead of spicy sausage, and we will set that in the bowl. Now here's all of my ingredients ready and prepared for the recipe. Okay, so we're going to brown 1 pound of sausage, but since I'm doubling everything in this recipe, we're going to do 2 pounds of sausage. So we're going to take our first pound here and just drop it in the bottom of this pot. And we're cooking everything in one pot. That's what the collab is, a one pot meal. So that's one of the rules. You have to cook everything inside the pot. So this is going to be the only pot I use for this recipe. Do the other pound. And the reason I'm making 2 servings or 2 doubling of the recipe because I want to freeze another meal. And this makes about 6 servings, so when I double the recipe it makes about 12 servings. So I have plenty for another day. We have this little doohickey. This is my little grounder for ground beef when I ground up ground beef like this or ground sausage. But before I do that, I'm going to let it cook a little bit. Okay, so I'm taking up my little crumbler here. And I'm making sure that crumbling up the sausages into smaller size instead of the big lumps. I'm also stirring it as it browns. So we're almost there. I'm using my little crumbler here to make sure I chop it all in nice little pieces. I don't want it too chopped up, because if I remember the ZUPPA Toscana in Olive Garden, they had nice size bite pieces, you know, in their soup. So I don't want to ground that up too much. Our little bowl here, strainer on here, and we're going to scoop the sausage mixture into this bowl. Alright, so now we're going to add some of the bacon in here. Let it cook and let it get crisp. And we're not going to put all this in here at the same time because it needs to fry up. So we're going to put some in here at a time. Now this recipe, from start to finish, takes about 40 minutes to cook. So we'll let that cook and get brown, and then we will turn it over and make sure it cooks thoroughly on the other side, and then we'll add the other half. Okay, I think we're there with the bacon. So it's pretty crispy now. So we're going to drain the bacon, and then we're going to take some of this oil off and leave about a quarter cup of oil back in here, of this oil here, because we want to leave this oil to mix with the vegetables for the seasoning. So we're going to take bacon off. Okay, I drained the bacon off and left about a quarter of a cup in here, and I left the actual brownings of the bacon. Here is the bacon. It's nice and crispy there, as you can see. And then we're going to add some chopped onions. Now this is, the recipe calls for a half of a large onion, but I did a whole onion. Like I said, I'm doubling the recipe. And we're going to cook that for about 5 to 6 minutes. Or until the onions are translucent. Okay, so I think it's ready. The onions is translucent. So if you look here, you can see the recipe calls for 2 to 3 cloves of garlic minced, and that's about 1.5 teaspoons. So we only can stir that in there for about a minute, and then we're going to add the chicken broth and the water. So the recipe calls for 28 ounces of low sodium chicken broth. So I'm going to add 36 ounces of chicken broth and about 5 cups of water. So this is my 36 ounce of chicken broth. 2 cups of water. 4 and 1 more makes 5. Now in this stage we can add the salt, pepper, crushed peppers, whatever kind of herbs or seasonings you like. And we're going to add some salt and pepper. And some pepper here. Now I don't want this spicy at all, so we are not going to put the pepper flakes in here. So I will omit the pepper flakes. So we don't want it spicy. Now we're going to add the potatoes. I'm using the yellow Yukon potatoes, I think they are, because they're much more tender. And I add the whole bag, which is about 14 small potatoes. So we are going to let this cook. So that would be maybe 15 to 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. Okay, so the potatoes has been simmering for about 20 minutes and it's nice and tender. So we are going to add the kale to the stock. 4 cups of kale. I have about 6 cups here. So we're going to add that to the stock. Adding a little bit at a time, because since I've doubled the recipe, I'm not sure how much kale I'm going to put in here. And this makes 5 cups. So I think 5 cups will do it. Yep. Alright, so I will let that simmer and we will stir occasionally. Let that cook for about 10 minutes. Okay, so our kale is tender. Now we're going to add our heavy cream, which is about 2 cups. So we're going to slowly stir this in. And that is the end of the recipe. We're going to let this heat through. And then you can ladle this in a bowl with Parmesan cheese. I want to thank Stephanie and Juani for inviting me to this Fab collab. I hope you enjoyed the soup, and don't forget to check out the other participants in the playlist in the description box. I see you on the next one. Smooches!